you have a masterclass, I'll be there with you. Plus, I've been using the product for 3 years, and I absolutely love it. I wouldn't change it for anything. So today, the approach is a little different. Many of you, have you ever attended an NB masterclass? Raise your hands. Okay, okay, great. We loved it, right? We learned so much. I mean, many people say like, oh, you know, I think it's a great product, but I'm scared to use it because I don't know how to use it. So that's one of the things that you're gonna be, you know, getting answers, know how to use it so you can apply it to other people as well. And then another approach is that since we're back to the regular pricing that we can get, you know, retail and wholesale price, is an amazing product to like grow clients, customers, right? So Yolanda is going to be going over today some of her tactics and things that she's actually implemented in the past that have made her very successful. And she wants all of you to do the, you know, duplication as well and become successful for NB. So for those of you that don't know Yolanda Halston, she's a very well-known Hollywood makeup artist. I mean, she has done makeup for a lot of very well-known Hollywood actors and actresses. She can tell you herself when she comes here. I don't want to like mess up a name, but I know she's been in many, many magazines, you know, Vogue, Mademoiselle, Fashion Bazaar. She's been on TV shows. She collaborated on The Shimmer for the movie Twilight. I mean, she's just incredible. Her resume, we can be here talking for hours about how much she's done and accomplished in life. But today she's here to serve you and to show you how NB can take your business to the next level. So please, let's give it up for Yolanda Halston.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming out on a Saturday morning. So happy to see all of you. I see lots of familiar faces. And of course, Zarina was just saying that many of you have already attended our master classes and are familiar with the product. But I today want to focus on something a little different that we haven't done before. With the retail pricing coming back, that is, you know, everything to me because that's where I really started. So if you don't know this, I am the inventor of the very first and only patented aerosol airbrush. When I started, there were no other beauty products in an aerosol can, no spray-on sunscreen, no spray-on self-tanners, nothing other than hairspray and deodorant. So it was very, very new. And, you know, obviously, airbrush has been one of the hottest trends in Hollywood. Not just there, though. Salons do it, wedding makeup artists do it for special occasion. And what Envy is your ability to have that professional application at home. So today I want to talk about taking this product to retail. And that's really where I started. So in 2001, I launched my very first brand, my own brand, and I was solely focused on high-end retail. So that means cosmetic boutiques, salons, cosmetic surgeons' offices. And at this time, you can imagine, nobody knew what an aerosol airbrush was. They had never seen it before. So it was very, very new. And I think a lot of you may still come across people that have never heard about aerosol airbrush. The beauty of this product is it's not just makeup. It actually is skincare. It's a treatment because we have taken my patented technology and combined it with Jeunesse exclusive APT 200, which obviously I'm sure all of you know about what that product does, but it causes your skin to send a youth message to your cells. So it keeps you looking young longer. It reverses the time and the outside in. So you get instant gratification. So what we call a product like this is a door opener. It's a great product to lead with because you actually see the results. You know, all of our amazing products in the Yes system promote health and wellness and youth, but you have to take it and experience it over a period of time to see those results, whereas with Envy, you get instant gratification. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to start by talking about the retail locations that you want to focus on. Because of my 20 years of selling in retail, the very best stores are going to be cosmetic boutiques, salons, doctor's offices, but also wedding, event planners, makeup artists that focus on weddings, professional makeup artists. And our idea isn't to take this into a department store. We don't want to do that. We want to keep it special. So I believe our limitation on the number of doors that one store can have is 10, because we want to keep it special. But we also want those people to use it and experience it, because what's going to happen is it's going to create customers. Not only focuses on niche brands. So they don't care Bobbi Brown or MAC or Chanel. They carry products that are young, upcoming brands, the cool, new, hot products that the influencers talk about. Most of the niche brands focus on color. So they don't focus on foundation, which is great because it allows us to really capitalize on getting that customer, every customer that walks through the door. My top selling stores in retail were the cosmetic boutiques that had makeup artists. So salons, second best location, because they already have customers sitting in their chair. So I'm going to tell you a little story. Rachel, my friend Rachel over here, I am new to Orlando and I did not have a hairstylist. So I called my girlfriend and said, who do you recommend? And she sent me to her hairstylist. So I sit in the chair, she does my color, she shampoos, and when she's all done, my hair looks great, but I'm missing my foundation across my forehead. So I pull out my can, I shake the can, I spray across my forehead, and she was like, whoa, what's that? And so we opened up that conversation. That's a door opener product. And I said, you know, this is a 30-second, literally picking it up, spraying it across their forehead, pressing it, and you send your client out the door looking flawless. And she said, how do I get this? And I said, well, as soon as we get back from Expo, Rachel and I are going to be calling her and setting her up as an account. That's how easy it is. But the trick is really getting it on their skin or them seeing it on your skin. The reason I'm here with Janess is because I did Wendy and Isabel's makeup, and I gave them some of my product, and they went back home and they started wearing it every day, and people started complimenting them on their skin. And so you can imagine that's the best testimonial, is wearing it yourself, and then people noticing the difference. So the makeup artists that focus on weddings. Prior to everything shutting down in 2020, our #1 seller of retail product across the board, across all Janess products in North America, our #2 and our #3 all have the majority of their business. In fact, the 2 makeup artists focus on weddings, and 98% of their business is Envy alone. So being able to use the product and get it on people's skin, immediately they want to know where they can get it. So professional makeup artists, salons, cosmetic surgeons' offices, I'm going to have some tools for you available, and we'll all keep in contact. But when you go and you open a retail door, there's a lot of method to the madness, because retail environments, they expect certain things. They're used to dealing with retail brands. And so there's some key things that you really want to focus on, and the #1 thing that they're going to ask for is support. So support means you make yourself available to help them with a launch event. You go back on a regular basis. And we did events quarterly, but when you do a launch event, the first example of that I can tell you, prior to anyone even knowing what an airbrush foundation is, we picked up the phone and we got Kiss FM to give us a 3-minute spot in Oklahoma City. It's so easy to do. They are hungry for content, and especially in this environment where there's not a lot of great content out there, being able to get a local radio station, local magazines, newspapers to show up to support stores and to build sales in their own communities is so much easier than you would think. So I went on Kiss FM for about 3 minutes, which ended up turning into 30 minutes because we were having so much fun. The sound effects that were coming out. I thought, how am I going to sell makeup on the radio? They can't see it. But the sound effects were hysterical. It was 2 men, 45 plus, and they were like, so what are you going to show me? And I said, it's a spray. And I was like, shh. And they were like, what? Spray it here. No, don't spray it there. Spray it here. And it just turned into comedy. But when I arrived at the store that morning, we had a line out the door and around the corner. People were coming from all over to try it. And in that weekend, we had 2 days. We sold $15,000 of retail product, only of 10 shades of foundation. There were no other products to go with it. So you can imagine that's about 300 customers that walked through the door in 2 days. The stores love it because you're drawing in new customers for them. And, it's great fun to do events. And part of that starts with training the stores. So I don't see my model that I had arranged here. So let's see, who wants to be my model? Okay, I should start by saying who wants to be my model that doesn't have foundation on their face already? Okay, we talked earlier, so why don't you come up? So once you get the store to get excited about the product, salons are easy, like I said, because you just pull out the can, you spray your face, and they're like, wait, what is that? Come on up.
Oh my God, it's too high.
Oh, there's a little thing there. You've got the right shoes on too, that's great.
Thank you, I'm so short.
So basically, if you're going into a location that you don't have a connection to, I'm sure everybody here has a hairstylist, right? Everybody knows a hairstylist, has been to a hairstylist, or knows somebody who knows somebody. That's the great place to start. But I did a little bit of research. The first thing I did was I looked for products that were niche brands like this. And so I went to a store location that was my local cosmetic boutique, and I just went on to see what other products they were carrying. Then I went to those companies' websites and looked to see what other stores were carrying those products. And then I Googled wedding makeup artists near me. And the list goes on and on. It was so much, I had to stop writing it all down because there was too much. And that's how you start to build your retail business. One thing turns into the next thing, and then it turns into the next thing. So if you're doing a first-time meeting and they've never seen the product before, I always start by spraying the product on my own skin. I'm going to start with the primer. Usually I lead with the skincare products, but you've had Dr. Newman, so I'm just going to jump right in. You're going to expect that when you apply your makeup that you're going to have clean, exfoliated, hydrated, moisturized skin. So when I'm in a meeting and I'm talking about Envy, the first thing I do, because this is the person that is my future customer and client, I'm going to start by just spraying the back of my hand. And the reason I do this is because, first of all, most of the time when you spray product on someone's face, their eyes are closed, so they never actually see you spray. So it's really important that you start to build confidence and comfort. Most times people think that if you spray something, it's going to go all over the place. So doing it on the back of my own hand is the first step. Take a puff, we're going to press it in, and I'm going to have her touch it.
Wow.
So now I've just created space, a very safe space between the two of us. So when you feel it, it feels like rose petals. Most primers are tacky, they're sticky, and the function of a primer is to fill the fine lines and pores to create a smooth surface so that when you apply the makeup on, it goes on more evenly and it lasts longer. But the beauty of putting an airbrush primer on is that you get 5 products in one. You get your skin primer, eyelash primer, eyelid primer, primer for your eyebrows, gives your eyebrow powder or pencil something to stick to, and a lip primer, but you get all of that in 1 second spray. Now this is the sound you want to hear. Okay? Not, because if you do that, you're going to open your eyes and you're going to look like a glazed donut. Your face is going to be wet. So I always say, because you want to set the stage, and the things that I say to you, the little phrases that I say are from years of going out into situations like this, into retail locations, and when someone asks me a question, the next time I go and do a presentation, I answer the question that the previous person asked me in my presentation, so that I'm setting the stage for them having absolutely no questions. So once I've, oh goodness gracious, there's a slit there. Okay, I gotta pay attention to that. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spray it on the back of her skin, on the back of her hand. And the reason I do that is that I want her to feel how it feels on her own skin. So one quick mist, it's a very light mist, and then press it in and have her feel the difference between her 2 hands. Now, even if you have soft, smooth skin, and even if you have someone that has flawless skin, you're gonna notice the difference. The primer has micronized titanium dioxide in it that already starts the blurring and the airbrush flawless look. So always, always, always remember to shake the can first. That's what makes the airbrush work. So inside this can, imagine what a clear glass bottle of Italian dressing looks like. You've got the water is the heaviest thing, and the herbs, so the minerals, the color pigments. This has 0 color pigment in it, but all of the pigments are going to be at the bottom with the water. Then you have your emollients and your vitamins and botanicals that float on the top. So when you shake the can, every molecule of water gets wrapped in those vitamins and botanicals. It gets wrapped in the pigment so that when you spray, the bubbles hit the skin and they burst. And so they perfectly feather, and that's what causes the airbrush effect. So if you don't shake the can, what's going to happen? You're going to spray out most of the water in the early days, and you want to keep the product consistent every time you spray it. So shake, shake, shake. Now I'm going to spray my own face. And I do that because I want her to see the distance and the amount of time that I spray. So when I spray my face, if I was going to spray my face with water and I went like this, I would be losing 2/3 of my product into my hair, which we don't want to waste the product, right? And my hair would get wet. So I always say, if you pretend like it's water, you cannot make a mistake, because I wouldn't do this and ruin this blow dry. And I wouldn't spray here, because if it was water, I would get wet just in one spot. So the spray pattern is about as wide as this. So if you see, it goes right in between. So it's literally just like tracing the nose, a little zigzag. Not too close, so I always say, just right where your arm feels like it's naturally bending, and if you pretend like it's water, you're gonna do this. That's it. I just primed my entire face in a 1-second spray. Now, one question that I get a lot is, can I skip that step? Can I skip the primer? Of course you can. There's no rules with makeup. Everybody's gonna have their own routine and their own products that they like to use. But when I use the primer first, I use less makeup because I've already started the airbrush effect. My makeup goes on smoother and it lasts longer. So now here's the fun part. This is a little sales tool. When you're in a salon, the client is already draped, so that's fine. But in a situation like this, or at an event where people come in, they already have their makeup on, they already are dressed in their beautiful clothes, number one thing that people are going to worry about is, how do I keep it from getting all over the place? So while I'm talking to her about the product, telling her about all the great vitamins and botanicals and all of that, I use that time to just take the tissue and tuck it in around her collar. And I use tissue for two very good reasons. Number one, she's already going to feel comfortable. She's not going to be worried about her clothes. And number two, when I'm all done with her application, I'm going to take the tissue off and I'm going to show her that the makeup didn't get all over the place. It's a very important key because, like I said, when people are spraying, or when I'm spraying her, I'm applying it, and she needs to know that when she gets home, if it's all over her and all over the bathroom counter, she didn't apply it the way we talked about. So this is the next tool that I'm going to do. So I'm going to stick this onto her collar. So when someone's already dressed and their hair is done, you don't want to have to put the headband on. You want this process to be faster and easier than they've ever had before. So you can get that Kim Kardashian look that takes, 30 minutes of sped up film to get that highlighted contour look. You can do that in literally 3 minutes. So you want to keep your demo short, brief. You can have time to talk about the products and the opportunity after the fact, but when you do the demo, you want to make sure that that's super fast. So now I'm going to give her the can. So I'm in her space, we're all comfortable, we're friends, we're having a good time. But now I'm going to have you hold the can for me. And I don't want you to spray yet. I have you close your eyes, pretend like you're going to spray. This is what you should feel. Just like that. And then I have her spray her own face. Go ahead. Great. You did awesome. A little hesitant. Yeah, right? A little hesitant in the first. I don't know if you heard that little So if you open your eyes and you've got little white dots, it's because you were hesitant. Like, you got to spray it like you mean it. And not just, because then the can might spit. So you need to have answers to all of these questions because people are going to have a different experience. One of the people that I worked with used to always say that when you're going out to show someone how to use something that they've never seen before, it's like learning how to drive a car. So the very first time you meet someone and you're going to teach them how to drive the car, you hand them the keys, and they can't even figure out where the key goes. That's going to be somebody. They're going to be like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Where do I start? Then you're going to have somebody that turns the key on, drives, and does it beautifully. And then you're also going to have someone who turns the key on, drives, and crashes it into a tree. So you want to set your customer up for the most success that you could possibly have. And I know right now, based on what I just saw, that when she gets home and she sprays her own face, she's going to have a successful experience. So it's this exchange that we're doing that is super important. So I've had many, many times where I've handed somebody the can and they go, shh. And then they open their eyes and I'm like, okay, well, that's okay. So when you open your eyes, if your face is wet, it's either because you sprayed for too long or you had the can too close to your face. So we're just going to take the puff, we're going to pick up the excess, and we're going to try again. The products, all of the MV products can be layered for the desired amount of application. So if you think about it, ladies, like you're polishing your fingernails, if you try to put one thick layer on, it's going to take too long to dry and you're going to mess it up. So you want to layer the products. It literally is a 1-second spray. Open your eyes. If your face still feels, especially for people who have very dry skin or dehydrated, maybe a lot of open pores on the nose or on the cheeks, you can layer the product by misting once, looking to see, misting again. And I actually met a woman at a trade show, and she was a very important buyer. She sat down, and I went to spray it on the back of her hands, and her hands felt like sandpaper. They were so dry. And I used my primer. 1 mist, had her feel it. 2 mists, had her feel it. I had her right there because she was experiencing it here. So as soon as she had it here and she was like, oh, okay, then she wanted it on her face. So getting people to sit in the chair is the first example of where you're going to get hesitation and pull back. But if you start in this process where you're just slowly bringing them in, show them on yourself, show them on the back of the hand them the can. The beautiful part about the primer is that it's totally clear. You don't have to worry about getting it in your hair, getting it on your clothes. But she does feel protected. So we're going to start with the second part of the demonstration. I just have to keep an eye on the time. All right, so Next step is choosing a shade. We have some great tools for choosing shades. We have a little clear card that you can get in your back office. When you choose a shade, there's 3 ways to break it down. The first one is, are you light, medium, or dark? As soon as you decide what your level of skin tone is, you've already eliminated 2/3 of the other shades. Now you only have 3 to choose from. Are you warm, which means you see a lot of yellow undertone, or are you neutral? Typically, if in doubt, just go neutral and you can't make a mistake because neutrals have a correct balance of both red and yellow. Our most popular selling shade, hands down, is the N4. It's what Wendy wears. It's what I wear. I see a lot of N4s in here. And then you can add other colors along the way to highlight, to contour, to conceal. So I'm going to start with the N4. She's a medium neutral. If you have someone that you are trying to shade match, but they're not sitting in front of you, you can go into your back office, and when you go to choose a shade, it allows you to do Find My Shade, where you can program in what your customer is already using, and up will pop your perfect Envy shade match. And if we don't have that particular product, maybe it's new, maybe it's more obscure, then you just hit send, customer service is notified. I usually get a notification. And worst case scenario, just DM, like most of you do, me, on Facebook or Instagram, and I'll send you back the shade myself. So we're gonna start with neutral 4, and I'm gonna shake the can. She's already primed, ready to go. I'm gonna spray a little bit in the palm of my hand. This is what it should look like a little creamy round circle. If it looks too watery, then you got to keep shaking, because what happens is there's a stem that goes from the bottom, top of the can to the bottom, and if you don't shake it properly, there's going to be a lot of water in there that's going to get sucked up into the tube. Also, something that you might experience if you have an entire set of Envy, but there's some shades that you don't use very often. After it sits for a while, all that water goes back to the bottom, but there's still pigment left in the stem. If you spray it and it comes out a little thicker or foamy, just spray it into a tissue and clear that up. I actually use that as concealer, so I just go with it, but the product is not ruined. I had someone ask me earlier, we've noticed now that there's no expiration date on the can. Well, that's because the product never expires. When you use this product from the very first day that you use it all the way until the last spray, and it doesn't matter if it takes you 30 days to use it, 6 months, a year, if you're a makeup artist and you have certain shades that you don't use that often, it is as good as the very first day. And the reason for that is that the can is sealed. There is absolutely no way that you can open this can. Expiration on cosmetics is from the date of opening, and you can never open this. So aerosols are exempt from expiration date. And so as long as you take care of it and you shake it, it's going to last you as long as it takes you to use the can. So when I do a demonstration, I'm not going to replace her mascara. I'm not going to replace her lipstick. And I don't want to mess with her hair. A lot of people have fringe or bangs, whatever you like to call them. And if you go pushing those away from their face, they're immediately going to be on guard, because you don't mess with that. So what I do in a situation like this, I'm going to start with using my finger. This is going to give you the most natural application of a concealer. So open and look up. I always put my hand over their eyebrows just because it gives them something to look up into. A lot of people will be like blinky like that. So open your eyes and look up for me. Just gives her some place to look, and it protects her eyes from the light. And I conceal first. Now, if I have a customer in my chair that is not going to be doing the concealer, I could skip this step if it's just for her. But if it's a buyer, or if it's a makeup artist, or if it's an industry professional, you want to show them every possible way that they may want to demonstrate it. So I'm going to start with the most natural. And if the client has anything that you want to cover, I like to do that first. And that way I don't overspray the entire face just to cover up one little thing. It may be a sunspot, it may be a blemish, it may be a scar, it may be rosacea. I do that first, and then when I spray, I generally only need one spray. So shake the can again. Now I'm going to have her close her eyes. I'm going to push her hair back away from her face. I don't want to get the product on her mascara. And I'm going to protect her earring with my thumb. I'm going to have her press her lips together, like you're pressing your lips together, and that's it. Did you hear that? Not. Okay, so now I am going to take the puff, and I'm going to press it in. And this is pressing. This sets it, which means you don't need powder. You can use powder with it if you want to, if you want a more matte finish, but you don't need powder. So you can press it in, blend it in, and this is buffing. So just because you don't see it on the neck doesn't mean it's not there. You always want to buff. And then if you got a little bit in the eyebrows, you just wipe it off of the hairline, and it falls right out. It dries to a powder. So a dewy looking powder, but a powder all the same. So if you do get a little bit of dust, you can just brush it out, just like that. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to hand her the mirror. Because even if your client has perfect skin, they're going to notice a difference side to side. Okay?
Wow.
And you always get that. Now, if I have somebody that desires a little bit more coverage, and they'll tell you right away, I want a little more. So then that's when you go in and you do the second layer. So the first layer is like a tinted moisturizer. Generally, it's enough. If you have somebody that needs a little bit more coverage, the coverage of a liquid, then a second mist is like that coverage. It's not full coverage, but more coverage. If you want a full coverage, a third mist will give you the look of a cream or a powder foundation that really wipes out the skin tone. Now, everybody applies their makeup a little bit differently. I'm showing you how to spray it. But there are certain people who will never spray it, so you should know how to apply it the traditional way as well. So the next application that I'm going to do is applying it with a sponge. I'm going to use the puff. These are our puffs that are available for sale. They are reusable, and they're for individual use. These are puffs that you use in a retail location. So these are disposables, and they're great for walkaways if you want to send somebody away with something that's branded. These are not available to the public. These are specifically for you because we want people to demonstrate in the best possible scenario. So you can buy these in your back office. They come in packages like this for sanitization. So there's 6 pieces, and in a bundle you get 48. So you get 8 of these. And they're great because then you can do the application properly, you can hand it to them, they can walk away with it, or you can just throw it away and it stays sanitary. And that's really, really important. I don't know if you noticed, but I always have antibacterial wipes with me, or I have alcohol wipes. I always clean my hands first. Being sanitary is extremely important. And then on top of it, if you're going into salons, them knowing that you understand sanitization is very, very important. So now I'm going to shake the can again. This is the other side. Same shade. Now this is the difference. Applying it with my finger, I've got the heat from my fingertips, I've got the texture. It's going to go on much more natural. But when I use an applicator, what's going to happen is the applicator is going to absorb the water, and it's going to lay down more straight pigment. So watch the difference. Go ahead and look up. That is a more full coverage application. See the difference? Can you turn side to side so everybody can see? So you can apply it with a sponge or with a brush on the entire face. You don't have to mist it on. The mist is great. The younger people who want airbrush, they love it because of the cool technology. Our more mature customers, they love the spray because it doesn't settle in the fine lines, and it gives them an evened out skin without looking like they're wearing a ton of makeup. Soccer moms, love it. People that are on the go, young professionals, they want to look polished, but they don't want to be wearing a ton of makeup. So this product touches every single person that you can come into contact with. I'm going to show you another little trick. This is how I would apply, and this is how my teams train in Korea and in the markets where there's darker hair and paler skin. Spraying it like this, maybe not always that convenient because there is a little bit of dust. And so if you get any dust in that dark hair, it's going to show. Same with my California girls who have their very self-tanned faces and then the really blonde hair. So this is how I apply it in those scenarios. So turn this way, close your eyes. And then you could use a brush or a sponge. I'm going to use a little brush and just blend it out. That way you still get the tiny little micropigments that are used in an airbrush, but I just literally applied her makeup in just a couple of seconds. And this is just another method that you can use. So now I'm going to hold the mirror for her and have her see the other side. Fast, easy. Okay, so that's the foundation. Now, like I said, there's no rules. We're going to go in now with a bronzer. Not everybody wants to be bronzed. So we only have one shade. This shade is specifically for people who have a level 3, which is like a Reese Witherspoon, up to probably a level 7, which is Beyonce. So this is a warm golden caramel. This is going to give you the glow without the disco. There's no sparkle. It's literally crushed pearls, and it just makes your skin absolutely glow. So you can apply this, and I literally do this because I like a lot of glow, but you can also apply it by just spraying it on a brush and brushing it onto the skin and putting it right where the sun would naturally kiss the skin and give you a beautiful, beautiful glow. Now this is head to toe. These products can be used on your décolleté. They can be used on your arms, on your legs. So we have this really beautiful brush. How many people have tried our brush? Okay, so doing a body brush, just because I call it a body brush doesn't mean you only can use it on your body. You can use, I have one for my face. I have one for my contour, which I'm going to show you right now, and I also have one for my legs. So I have multiple brushes going at the same time, but the product goes right into the skin. It literally melts into the skin, and I'll show you a demo of that on her arm. But this hair is faux. It's synthetic, but it feels like Blue Point squirrel. And the tips are feathered, so you get that really beautiful, just buttery, it just melts right into the skin. So when I spray on her face, I spray back here. On her body, I spray close, and then I use the brush. So I'm going to start with her face with a contour. I'm going to use the level 8. This is Halle Berry's shade. This is dark, or darker. You can see it's like a cocoa color. Actually, I think that we call this one toffee. And I'm going to take the brush. The brush is rounded. You can see it's beveled, and it's also contoured. So I'm just going to take a little bit on the tip of my brush. Turn that way. Now, I'm not going to do this to everybody, but if I'm talking to a makeup artist or a professional, I'm going to show them this trick. So you find right where the shadow naturally falls, and you stay above that, and then you just bring the brush up so you can see. And it melts the product right into the skin. There's no 15 minutes of Beauty Blender blending it out and trying to make it all look natural. This just melts right into the skin. So I'm going to do a little bit more on the other side. Turn this way. And you see I'm just making like a little swish just right underneath where that shadow naturally falls. And then the brush will just break the line. And then whatever's left on the product, I go around my hairline. You can go down the sides of the nose, underneath the chin. And when I really want to contour, I just take that darker color and I lift the chin and I just mist underneath, and you can use the brush to blend it out. Now, I'm going to show you our shimmer. Zarina mentioned this earlier. This product we have one shimmer. It's a white pearl. I actually developed this specific shade to be used on the movie Twilight Breaking Dawn to give the moon glow that the movie was so famous for. And basically what we did, so if you're a shade number 1 or a shade number 2, if you have very pale skin, instead of using the bronzer, you're going to use the shimmer to get your glow. And you can do this on your legs, on your décolleté. I use it on brides, on the tops of their shoulders, on their décolleté to give that really beautiful sheen. And you can apply it a bunch of different ways. You can apply it by using it on your fingers. You can spray it directly onto a brush. I'm going to go first with my finger. Turn this way. And I'm going to go right where the light would naturally fall. This is what a makeup artist would call strobing. And it gives that glow right on the top of the bone. You can use your finger. I always go down the center of the nose. I go a little bit on the corner of the lip. And then you can also take a small concealer brush and use it just underneath the brow bone to get that really beautiful highlight. So there's so many things you can do with this product. I haven't found a single person that I have applied this product to that it didn't fit into their lifestyle. Young, mature, and everywhere in between. So you can also use a fan brush or a feathery brush and just go right where the light would naturally fall. I like to use it on the collarbones. And so if you have very pale skin, you can use this underneath your foundation or over the top like this, and it just gives this glow that is just magical. So that is our demo. And when you're doing this for a client or for a buyer, you want this demo to be fast. So you do one side, show them the mirror. Do the other side, show them the mirror, and then you take off the tissue and you show them that there's nothing there. So once you have the makeup on their skin, they're going to want to buy it. So once they are prepared to buy, thank you very, very much. I am going to maybe see if I can use somebody's legs in a little while. Thank you. So once you know that they're ready to buy, now in a store location, there are some key things that are going to be really important. I think I said earlier, supporting the store, them knowing that you're going to show up and be able to answer their questions. You don't want them having to call customer service. You are their distributor. And then you're dealing with the company directly so that it makes everything very streamlined. Setting up their launch event, I've done it thousands of times. You can have an event or you can have an incident. And I've had both. Getting the store invested into being part of the promotion is key. Giving them things to do. Having them set appointments. I have gone and done massive events, and then I've had very personal, intimate events, which also can be very fruitful and successful. It just depends on how you want to structure your business. So when you're supporting 10 stores, that's pretty easy. But then when your business blows up and you're supporting 100 stores, then you need to have some help. So what I do when I go in and do the training like this for a store, I get them to have as many people show up as possible, generally an hour before their store opens, and then I stay. You're going to take that one person that stands out to you. It could be a makeup artist, it could be the manager, but it's the person that's been there the longest and is most interested in the brand. And you want to make sure that they are wearing the product every day and that they're your go-to person, that you can pick up the phone and see what they need, and that they're available to train new employees that come through, because you can't go every time they have some new employee, and you're probably not even going to know most of the time, so you need your go-to person. 3 different types of orders that you'll get. For a cosmetic boutique that's going to do an event, they need a big opening order because you don't want them to run out of product. And I can help you with that. As far as what the standard is you're going to do probably 3 pieces of the lightest shades, 12 pieces or 24 pieces of the most popular shades, and then 3 to 6 pieces of the darker shades. It just depends on the location that you're in and the clientele that they have. So you're going to base that on the region and the clientele that they have coming in. One thing that you don't want to do is front load a store location with a lot of inventory, because you want them to feel like they're turning it. And if you go and do an event and you sell through their inventory, trust me, you're going to get an order the next day. So that's not a problem. But stores like a salon, for instance, they're going to be more on the tier 2 level of an order. They don't have a huge amount of space for retail. They don't have cases to put it in. So those orders are going to be about maybe half the size of a boutique. And then when you go into a doctor's office, they have 0 space. So they're going to have 2 and 3 pieces. The great thing about working with cosmetic surgeons, estheticians, doctors that are seeing customers is that you could actually even talk to them about factoring in the price of the product to go with a procedure. So it's basically like the doctor's writing a prescription. So we're going to do this laser, we're going to do the CO2 peel, but when you leave, you need your serum, you need your moisturizer, and you need your NV, and it becomes part of a package. And so then it's not like, oh, I just spent this amount of money on the procedure, now I've got to buy all this other stuff. It's all part of one package. So I want to just take the opportunity now to open up the floor for questions. I feel like, over the years I answer, but I always hear something new. So I would really like to hear if anyone has any questions that I didn't cover for you. Is there anyone? Oh, great.
So I see you didn't put any like lotion or toner a model, but usually you would do.
Well, absolutely. In most scenarios, you're going to have somebody that's sitting in your chair that already has their skin prepped. When I go in and do an event,
I'm done by 6.
I get to know all the products that are in the store. Obviously, bringing in the Luminess product would be the ideal. And I only use Luminess. And, I have a funny story. In one of my stores, actually in La Jolla, California, they sold, it was primarily skincare. And so this brand called Darphin, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's out of Paris. And they have 650 SKUs. I mean, it literally is 12 feet of wall space, floor to ceiling. So their sales rep comes in and says, who's your number one? And they said, obviously, John, you're always going to be number one. They had so much product. How could they not be? He goes, well, who's your number 2? And so they go over to the computer, pull it up, and he's like, we were brand new, didn't recognize our brand. We only had 10 shades of foundation. He's like, how is that even possible? I have 650 pieces. I'm number 1, and they're rivaling me with 10 SKUs. How does that happen? The reason Luminess is so great is that stores don't have to carry all that extra stuff. You get every single thing you need with your serum, your moisturizer, and your cleanser. The foaming cleanser, I have a little trick I want to show you. I don't have the actual cleanser, but I do have this. And so I take my tube of cleanser, and I just got this off of Amazon. It's a foaming bottle, but I take my cleanser and I put about this much in it, and I do that with 3 bottles. That's a tube. And then shake it up really well, and I use this not only to wash my face, but also to wash my makeup brushes. Anything that touches my face gets cleaned with this. And the reason for that is I have very sensitive skin to begin with, but it cleans my makeup brushes and it doesn't leave anything extra. The very first time I got our makeup removing mitten, have any of you seen this or tried this? So this mitten is not like the typical cleansing mitten that you would get in Sephora. This has what's called polyamides. Google it. When you open this up and you feel this, you can almost feel the static electricity. It draws the dirt and oil out of your skin without cleanser. So when you use it with your cleanser, your face gets extra clean. And I challenge you to wash your face and then go back and wash it a second time with your mitten and see what else comes out. So we have these available for sale individually, but we also have them for those who are wanting to make Envy their featured business. If you want to do parties, or if you're going to events and you're going to have a lineup of people, you need to make sure everything's clean and sanitary. These are great as walkaways too when you do your parties. This comes in a set of 12, so you can buy them in bundles. And I have one in my kit, in my travel bag, in my shower, at my sink, and at my bathtub. So if you use these and then you use your foaming cleanser to wash it after you've washed your face, clean it out, wring it out really good, hang it, and it's ready for you the next time you're going to use it. These last you upwards 6 to 8 weeks. Just don't wash them in the washing machine or put them in the dryer, because that's what kills those polymides, the static electricity. Okay, next question.
Okay, I'm sorry. I need to interrupt because Wendy Lewis is waiting for you, lady.
Oh, is it 11 already?
Yeah, I mean, Wendy
I have
loves to
7
share,
minutes.
but you know, she needs to get her beautiful look by Yolanda Houston, so she needs to be
I need to be out of here, but we have some product to give away.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Anybody that has any more questions, if you don't already follow me on Facebook or on Instagram, look me up, DM me, send me a message. I'll help you with your shades. I'll do your Zoom calls. I'm here for you, and I work for you. So if you need to sell in a store, Envy by Janess, Instagram. And follow us. So, first person we're going to give product away to is going to be our model, because she was so kind. This is an entire complete set, one of every single thing of Envy. 10 shades of foundation, primer, bronzer, shimmer, and body product, and the brush.
You can do my makeup.
I know, right? Okay, so then the next gift that we're going to give away is for the person that asked the question. So this is for you. This is a bundle. This is 48 of each. And enjoy doing your demos. Oh, yes. And then I have to hurry. Okay, thank you. And for our next question, Laura, your Envy mittens. And then I think you're telling me I have to run, right? So
I know. I mean, I don't suggest you run with heels, but
yeah,
you know.
okay. So I'm going to leave the rest for Zarina, and I'm going to pack up. Thank you all so much. This was such
Let's
a
give
pleasure.
it up for Yolanda.
Thank you very much.
Huh?
Sure. Yeah, let me clean up the
Okay,
trash,
one
though.
thing, I mean, while
I don't want
she
it to look
picks up,
messy.
they're asking about the spider veins. The body, you know, foundation works wonderful. I'm never gonna forget, I was in a lead event and I had this lady, I mean, she has the cutest, you know, body, and she was wearing a miniskirt, and her husband called me and he said, I know you can always, like, whatever we ask you, you make it happen. And he's like, she wants to change dresses, but she looks amazing. But it's because she has spider veins. And Yolanda just launched this product. Can you hook her up? So there I am, oh, sure. So I went and grabbed the product. We're in the bathroom, you know, and I'm like, you know.
伙伴们，非常抱歉，我才发现居然忘记搞成中文的了，非常抱歉。待会儿的那个下一个场我们搞成中文的啊，对不起。